came into town, we came across a very old burial site. It's of a type that I've never heard of before, but in an area where our people always used to bury people at the foot of a kind of a rock slope. They'd dig a little shallow hole and then bring the rock down on them. It was right along the side of the road between the graveyard where we're going to rebury them and the track crossing, the railroad crossing. So what they found in there was a 20-year-old and a 10-year-old, some canine bones and a big fish. We don't know whether it's a spring or a steelhead, and a big fish remains. We're not sure how old they are, but they were buried with stone tools. So, and to me, the unusual part of it is that they were in two rock crypts. So they were about this wide and maybe not quite 5 feet long, and they were kind of shaped like this, nicely formed and bent out of the rocks, and the whole area was lined with red ochre, and they had capstones on them that were lined with red ochre. So I'd never heard of that kind of a crypt before. But that's the remains we're replacing today. This is kind of the midway point, I guess, of us replacing a number of old wooden headstones or markers in all of our grave sites. Some families have chosen to do theirs at a later date, and we respected that. And Siska is doing theirs at a later date. We did 2 ceremonial ones yesterday with them. So between Cooks Ferry and Siska, there's 346 headstones. They either had their names on or they were unknown. We replaced them with Lakapin Ikea, and Siska replaced them with Shmemeshtan, the relative. So we just wanted to make sure that they were not forgotten. And that's kind of what this ceremony today and the luncheon is about today. So, appreciate
My name is Fred Sampson, Chief of the Siska Indian Band, and I'm here to talk about commemorating our ancestors through the placing of headstones here in Cooks Ferry. Well, you know, for myself and what it means to me is, of course, my grandparents and my ancestors are buried all around our communities in different graveyards, and there's been, you know, so little recognition of the roles and you know, what First Nations played in the building of this province, and the roles we played, such as the Fraser Canyon Indian Wars, our role in the saving of the salmon through the Hell's Gate disaster, And to be able to have some recognitions for those people that have passed on before us, I think is real key. I'm not a big flag waver of truth and reconciliation and what that means to First Nations people. For me, when Canada apologized for the residential school, well, when you apologize to anybody for a mistake or something you've done wrong, you fix it. And, this is good, and I totally support what's happening, but in my mind, they haven't even come close to fixing what they've done. I was taught as a young boy, when you break a window, you fix it, you pay for it, and that means you buy the glass, you go and you put the window back in and you fix it so that they can see out of their home again, and then you might mow their lawn or weed their garden on top of that, and that's responsibility. And so, but having said that, we are where we are today, and by doing what we're doing and honoring the people that have been buried long before us, our ancestors, and in many cases, you can't even read what the markers say anymore, but it's just a good way to honor those people who have paved the path for us. If it wasn't for our ancestors that have passed on before us, we wouldn't even be here today. So in that sense, I definitely honor, the elders that have passed on before us, because what they've done and what they endured is a big part of why we're here today. And that to me is really, really important. And to that point, when I wake up in the morning and I do my morning prayer, they are a part of those prayers, and I thank the ancestors that have passed on before me, because they have cleared the path for us. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for our ancestors, our good grandmothers and good grandfathers, that have passed on before us. So I like the thought of putting down the granite stones, because it's a lasting thing. It will be there for a long time, and it's a way to honor the unnamed ones, the many, many babies and children who are in those graveyards who died because of disease, starvation, and the many things that were imposed upon our people. So in that way, placing stones on the unmarked graves is a great way to honor them and the efforts and the sacrifices that they made for the future generations. Much to where we are right now today, standing here in this facility. It represents the Sheishkin, the pit home, the winter house. In the winter house was all the stories were told, the sharing of knowledge, the sharing of who you were as a person and who your relatives were, which was really, really important, because there was no written books. Everything had to be done orally. And the transfer through legends and stories were teachings for our children. Things that are not practiced today, which are really critical in the upbringing of our youth and our children. I think it's a big part of the reason why a lot of our youth are lost, because they can't fit at home, but the minute they step off the reserve, they're recognized as an Aboriginal person, and they don't fit there. So I think it's prudent that these types of things happen, to not only for us to remember what our ancestors have done for us, but for our youth to participate so that they have a sense of belonging and a sense of